In Matthew 9:22, Jesus says, "Daughter, be encouraged. Your faith has made you well." And she was healed at that moment. Your faith has made you well. Now, this is a good time for me to talk about this faith thing, because we've just explored 4 stories in just 2 chapters, and they each deal with faith. And at least, 2 of them, 3 of them, faith that healed someone. And there are plenty more stories like this in the Gospels. And these stories have caused some people to turn faith into its own kind of perfection program. For some, faith has become sort of a spiritual commodity that you muster up through willpower to get God to do something good. In that way, faith has become a means of proving something to God, proving ourselves to God, thus earning healing or blessing or whatever. And that's not the heart of these stories. The faith that God saw in these people wasn't a work they used to get his attention. That would have put them no better than those religious leaders who tried to prove something with law keeping. Faith in each of these stories is the utter realization of their imperfection and the utter realization that they need him. It's utter dependency on Jesus. God responded to the beauty of their desperation through healing. And God used those healings to get the word out, to demonstrate his goodness as he still does today. But faith equals healing isn't the point of the stories, as if God had established a recipe that we must all strive to repeat anytime we want him to act. No. The point is that God considered nobody's condition, whether it was the result of something their fault, their sin, or not. God saw no one according to their condition or situations. Those conditions and situations were just some of many means that led people to realize they are weak, but he is strong, to see their need for him. That's faith in him, and that's what's most beautiful in the eyes of God. And friend, that's how God sees you. And it's how he sees others too. There are many things that God likes when he looks at you, but what he likes to see the most is that you know your need for him. It's as the author of Hebrews said in Hebrews 11:6, it's faith that pleases God. He likes it most when we realize that he's a grace giver. But usually, here on planet Earth, as human beings, it takes something not so graceful in our lives for us to realize our need for it. So may I speak to you very personally. You've been looking at your flesh and what isn't changing at all or very much. And you've been worried that God's unhappy. You're worried that these things are reasons to be written off or written out. You've been assessing your struggles and trying to manage them, but you aren't getting anywhere. Not very far, huh? In some ways, it seems like you've gone backward. The depression is still there. The anxiety rages some days. That addiction feels like it's 2 steps forward, 3 steps back more often than not. And you are sure God sees these things as disqualifiers. No way he can look positively on someone consumed with this much junk. Oh, friend, look again through the eyes of Jesus. Talk about being consumed with something. There's the man with leprosy. Talk about behaviors. There's Matthew in the tax collector booth. Talk about a situation that you can't change. There's the religious leader with the dead daughter. Talk about a fleshly something that isn't budging. There's the woman with the 12-year issue of blood. Jesus saw none of these conditions as reasons to be written off or written out. The only extent that any of them mattered was to reveal the need for grace. Someone knowing that need and knowing that he met that need, that's what Jesus treasured. Experience a powerful new way of living that doesn't all depend on you.